we're going live in a couple of seconds. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. I am Joe. I'm your host right here on WNRI 99.9 on the FM dial, 1380 on the AM dial, and of course on WNRI.com. And you can listen to us on Spotify as well as all previous episodes of the Joe Luca Real Estate Show as a podcast. So just look for Cup of Joe Luca or Joe Luca Real Estate Show, and you'll find us on Spotify. You can also see us live on Facebook Live if you would like to do that as well. So welcome to the show. Here we are on July 18th. We had a nice warm, somewhat humid day today. We had a nice warm and humid day yesterday, and it definitely summer-like in Rhode Island with all of the warm weather. We had that great rainstorm on Sunday. Does a lot of things to keep the grass green, which of course green grass is something that's good for curb appeal. There's nothing that is a turnoff when you drive by a property and you're looking at it and the grass is all brown and dead and not edged. There are simple things that you can do, or you can pay someone to do, to make your house really pop when people drive by to look at it. And one of those things is keep your lawn well maintained. You know, try to find someone who is a responsible and reliable landscaper if you can't do it yourself. But again, just watering the lawn, occasionally fertilizing it, keeps it nice and green, and straight edges are real important too. So folks, that's a quick tip on how to increase the curb appeal and value of your home, because that's the first thing people see when they are looking at it. I know it sounds fundamental and obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't consider that when they're putting their house on the market. You know, realtors, we can digitally enhance things only up to a point, and if there's a huge contrast between the images we put online and show a nice green lawn, and when they get there in person and it's the complete opposite of that, it's kind of a letdown. So try to keep your lawn well maintained, your landscaping, your shrubs. If you can plant flowers, flowers really increase curb appeal. Something very, very simple. Now you might be saying, Joe, why do I have to do anything to increase the curb appeal of my property? It's a seller's market, and someone's going to buy my house no matter what. Well, it may be that case in many instances, but it's certainly not that case in all instances. And the intensity at which people have been buying homes has relented, okay? You know, a lot of this is driven by mortgage interest rates, not the Fed funds rate, the mortgage interest rates. And the mortgage interest rates, according to mortgagenewsdaily.com, today are for 30-year fixed rate, we're looking at a 6.88, 30-year jumbo, 6.9, 30-year FHA, 6.5%, and a 30-year VA, 6.49%. So these rates have all come down quite a bit from last week. We were over 7% last week, okay? And it may not sound like a lot going from 7.2 to 6.88, but when you're talking about financing hundreds of thousands of dollars for 30 years, that starts to add up quickly, which means you should do everything you can to keep your home in good order, but then also keep your credit rating in good order. Because when you do go to get a mortgage, if you have a better credit rating, a lower FICO score, stronger rating, you will get a better interest rate. And even a difference of a few tenths of a point can make a big mean a lot of savings over the long term, okay? And folks, one of the things I want to point out is when you go to Credit Karma, the credit report that you receive, that's not the same credit report that lenders look at when you're applying for a mortgage, okay? There are different ways of analyzing credit and credit history, and the report that you get from Credit Karma or any other service like that is not what the mortgage lenders see. So if you get your report from Credit Karma, and I keep saying Credit Karma, but any report that you have access to, and you say, well, I have a 720 FICO score, you may, according to that system, but according to the system that a mortgage company uses, that 720 may be a 650. So what you want to do, the best way to find out how much you can borrow and what rate you'll qualify for, is to talk to a lender. And that's why we have a great sponsor, the Dolbeck team at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, 401-321-4401. Start early. So if you do have a surprise coming and your credit's not as good as you thought it was, you can take steps to rectify that. Okay? But the first thing you want to do, of course, is call yours truly, Joe Luca, Realtor at RE/MAX. I'm licensed in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, 401-409-5030. And I will connect you. I'll give you everything you need to do to start you on the path to being prepared to buy a home. Likewise, if you're going to be selling a home, we have a lot of services and products we can offer you free of charge to help you maximize the value of your real estate transaction. Okay? So just give me a call, 401-409-5030, and I can help you with that as well. And a lot of times, people that are selling a home are also buying another home. So you need to make sure that your credit is in tip-top shape too. And you may say, well, Joe, I'm going to be putting a big deposit down because I'm selling my house. Listen, if you can shave a couple of tenths of interest off of your mortgage rate, do what you can to get the lower mortgage rate. And we can offer you that service. Folks, when I'm talking about the information I'm giving you and the services I'm offering you, those are all free of charge. I don't make you pay for that. Okay, I may refer you, depending on your situation, to someone else that has their fee structure. I'm not involved in that. But we offer lots of services to prospective home sellers and prospective home buyers because we want to earn your business. Okay? I'm very fortunate. I listed a beautiful house over on Logie Avenue, 414 Logie Ave. Came on the market a little over a week ago. We received an offer after one open house. And we received a few offers, actually. And we accepted an offer. The sellers accepted an offer. They had their home inspection today. We're not expecting any surprises, and hopefully within 30 days, the home buyer will be a home owner right here in the great city of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. And on that note, I have a colleague of mine who is looking for a house for her client in Woonsocket. 3 or 4 bedrooms in Woonsocket. If you have anything, they can do 1 bathroom, preferably 1.5 or 2. But if you know of anyone who's thinking about selling, please have them give me a call, or you give me a call, 401-409-5030. No obligation, just to touch base and see if it's something that would be a good fit. And one of the things I do, folks, I ask lots of questions when I meet with a prospective seller, especially if they're not sure if they want to sell. And where we are in the market, honestly, folks, it doesn't make sense for everyone to sell their house right now. I know I shouldn't say that as a realtor who sells homes to make a living, but I have to go to bed, and I like to lay my head on the pillow and sleep well. And I cannot do that if I'm telling people that they should be selling a house and it's really not the right situation for them. So if nothing else, I'm going to give you honest answers to questions that you ask, and I'll give you honest answers to questions that I think you should be asking. Because there are many times folks ask, for a market analysis of their home, but they're not asking all the questions that they should. So I will inform them and then provide answers to those questions, because I do not want to put someone in a situation that's not good for them. All right, it's at least one of the largest financial transactions of your life. I love what I do. It's very rewarding to help someone buy or sell a piece of real estate, and I conduct myself professionally and ethically, always looking out for my client's best interest, not Joe Luca's best interest. Okay? I don't automatically do open houses for all of my listings. It depends on the client. It may not be in the client's best interest for safety reasons or other reasons why perhaps we should not have an open house at this particular listing. And I have that discussion with the client and let them decide what they want to do. Because the thing about an open house, folks, why it's different than, when you're just showing the house to prospective buyers. If we have prospective buyers coming in, they make an appointment. If it's with another realtor or coming directly in through the listing agent, we can require that they have a pre-approval letter from a lender that we know. When you have an open house, it's open. It's an open house. It's open to the public. So it could be somebody driving by that has no intention of buying a home. It could be someone driving by who's looking to case a house for nefarious intentions. We do not have control over who comes in. Now, there are certain steps we can take to try to avoid individuals with nefarious intent from coming into the house. There are certain steps we can take to try to pre-qualify the person when they come into the house to determine if they are, if they have the financial capacity or financial wherewithal to purchase a house that we're showing. But in the final analysis, in the end, it is a public open house. So it's not right for every listing. And that's something I'm very forthcoming with to all of my listing clients. That being said, again, we have a buyer who is looking to stay in Woonsocket and looking for a 3 or 4 bedroom house. 1 or 2 bathrooms would be fantastic. If you know any houses like that, or you know someone who may be interested and you have a name or an address, or if it's someone you know, please give me a call, 401-409-5030. Again, 401-409-5030. And I would love to try and get together with them. I want to do a quick shout out to my cousin John Salona, listening in from North Providence, Rhode Island. Hello, John. Great to see you. Folks, that's right. If you have Facebook and you become my Facebook friend, you can watch the show live on Facebook. I save the show so you can even watch it after the fact as well, which is where we get a lot of our exposure. So, as I said earlier, the mortgage interest rates have dropped from last week. So now that sounds like it's a good thing at first glance. And the people who are already pre-approved for a house, that is good for them because they'll get a rate that's a little bit lower. However, the challenge is now there are more people potentially who can be pre-approved to buy houses. And we have too many buyers already and not enough houses. The inventory is really tight. We have about 2 weeks of inventory. Just for perspective, we have fewer than 800 listings on any given day right now for single-family homes in the state of Rhode Island. And in 2017, we had between 4,500 and 5,000. Okay, so we are at a small fraction of where we need to be. We don't want to have 2 weeks of inventory. We want to have 6 months of inventory so that we are closer to a balanced market, balance between the number of buyers and the number of sellers. Okay, so you're thinking about selling a home and you're having the conversation. The market's so strong right now. It's such a strong seller's market. Why do I need to hire a realtor? That's a very good question. One of the things that you need to consider is how attached are you to your home? Usually someone is pretty darn attached to their home. They have pride of ownership. The work that they did to their home, the improvements that they put into their home. It's difficult to negotiate with a buyer when you have pride of ownership. You know what it took to make your landscaping look the way it does. You know what it took to have your kitchen look like that. You know how much money you spent on those garage doors and the roof. And then someone is coming in and they're telling you that they want to pay $20,000 less than you think the house is worth. It's understandable to become insulted. When you have a realtor, we receive the insult. And we don't get insulted because we don't have that type of an emotional connection to the house. What we do have on our side, if you're using a full-time experienced realtor, is market knowledge and experience. Okay? Most of the top realtors in any given market, if it's in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, Texas, California, have been in the market through a few business cycles and are full-time. There are some part-time realtors who are very successful, but my question is, you can't give 100% to two things. So you're going to give 100% of your focus to something you do part-time or something that gives you a paycheck every week. If I want you to sell my house, I want 100% of your brain energy on my house, on my industry, what we're doing, selling houses. So another reason to hire a realtor is because, and aside from not being emotionally attached, is we know how to negotiate. We can negotiate objectively, and we have facts and data and history on our side, because we can utilize market history to demonstrate the value of a home. We can pull up current active listings. We can pull up all of the pendings, under contracts, and recently sold to substantiate the value in the home. Oh, and speaking of value in the home, if you're working with a realtor, you're probably going to be able to get a higher price, as I talked about in one of my videos on my YouTube page. Homes sold with a realtor average almost $100,000 more than homes sold by the owner, because we know how to assess the value of a home, because we have access to all of the sold listings. We have market knowledge. We can go in. I can call, even when there are pending listings, I can call the listing agent up or the buyer's agent up and say, hey, that listing over there, how much is that under contract for? And I get that information because they know me, because I have a relationship with many, many, many realtors. And my colleagues and I have a very good, strong, professional respect for each other, and we share information that can be helpful to each of our clients. And as a matter of fact, I just did this. I have a friend. They had called up. They were looking to sell their home, their mother's home, and I wanted to find out, jeepers, there's a house right down the street that just went pending, and even though it was a smaller house, I was trying to determine what the situation is with the price. How much did it go under contract for? Did it go below asking price, over asking price, at asking price? And this house sold for about $1,000 over asking price. Did the same thing on another property, and that one sold for exactly asking price. Okay? These are the types of things that most experienced full-time realtors will do when determining the value of a home. As a homeowner, you do not have access to this information. And usually what happens is people selling their own home either wildly overvalue them or they undervalue them. They sell fast, they undervalue them, they sell quickly because people know a bargain. And a savvy buyer is not going to say, wow, your house is $9,000 cheaper than everything else out like it on the market. They're just going to come in quick and put it under contract. Oh, and that's something else. When you sell your home yourself, you don't have access to all of the contracts that realtors have. At least you don't legally have access to those. So you would probably have to hire an attorney to do that for you. With a realtor, we take care of all of that for you. Okay? Folks, you're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. In case you hadn't guessed, or you're just tuning in, my name is Joe. We are here every Tuesday evening on WNRI 99.9 FM, 1380 AM. And we are here 6 to 7 p.m. We broadcast from the heart of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. If you have questions, you can give me a shout after the show, 401-409-5030. I'll answer any questions that you have. And we are talking now about, why does it make sense for a homeowner to hire a realtor to sell their home? Because it's such a strong seller's market. Well, we talked about the benefits of negotiating and not being personally involved. A realtor can be objective when negotiating. We also talked about pricing. Realtors know how to accurately price a home because we have access to more data. And then forms, okay? A listing agreement, okay? Maybe you're not going to have a listing agreement because you're selling it yourself, but you do need to have a seller disclosure form. That's a state law requirement. You need a lead disclosure form, another state requirement. And then you need a sales contract, okay? So these are the things that you need to have. And rest assured, if you don't do something right and you have a litigious-minded buyer, they will take you to the cleaners. And I guarantee you, it will cost you more than the cost of a real estate commission to extract yourself from a situation in which you didn't behave appropriately or legally. Okay. So you have those three reasons for why it makes sense to work with a realtor. And then also, you have the benefit of all of our experience. So we can tell you, hey, you know, these are some pointers, things you may want to take care of to prepare your home for sale. Oh, when you're going to have a public open house, these are some things that you may want to do, some precautions you may want to take for your safety, the safety of your family, and then also to assure or to avoid potential theft of items during the open house. Okay. You get the house, you receive an offer, and then the buyer wants to do a home inspection. Okay, as a homeowner, what do you do during a home inspection? Do you stay there? Do you talk to the inspector? What should you do? These are things that a realtor will inform you of, because there are certain things you want to be present for, certain things you don't want to be present for, and there are many things that are need to know. Okay, we have a caller who just called in. Let's see what we have right here. Let's see. Bear with me. Hello. Fred, how you doing, brother? I'm doing good, doing really well. Hey, yeah, having a good summer, you know, keeping busy, just living the dream, loving my life.
That's good. So, obviously, I'm a big fan of your show, and I listen to your show when I see it. And so I have a couple questions I'd like to talk to you about.
Ask away.
Sure. All right. So, you kind of gave out an astonishing number there, where it was back in 2017. You said there's about 4,500 to 5,000 homes on the market now. With the way times have changed, we're looking at 800 homes on the market, and that's single-family homes in the state of Rhode Island, right?
That's right. That's right. It's actually under 800 homes. It bounces around, but it's been under 800 homes. Yeah.
Okay. And I can honestly tell you, even being a contractor owning a junk removal company, we've seen our shortages of cleanouts come from real estate agents, where over the years, the past couple of years, we've done very well in that industry with referrals, and this year it's died down dramatically. So my question is to you, okay?
All right.
How do you think we get back to that time where we had about 4,500 to 5,000 homes back on the market? I heard another real estate agent on one of his commercials talk about the Fed should possibly think about doing like an incentive for people to like sell their homes, to try to build back people selling their homes and give some sort of incentive. Have you heard anything about that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, unfortunately, like Rhode Island Housing, they've got this great $17,500 down payment assistance program. It's awesome. But unfortunately, what that's doing is it's bringing more buyers to the party. We don't need more buyers at the party. We need more sellers. So what we need to do is we need to incentivize. And I don't think this is something the Fed would do. This would have to be done. Maybe the federal government could do something with regard to taxes. But with tax stamps, maybe the states could do something to incentivize people. Regarding the actual tax stamps, giving certain type of incentives for if you're selling a house and buying a house, incentivize people that way. But yes, I agree. We need to incentivize sellers to come to the party, and we're not doing that right now. And I was listening to a webinar the other day. This company Altos Research, and they had done a lot of research and found and talked to some economists, and the thesis is that we need to have mortgage interest rates increase even higher to get more houses on the market. So that I'm not sure if I totally agree with that, but we'll certainly see, because by raising interest rates, you're going to get rid of a lot more buyers, and that may incentivize more sellers to come to the market as well. Again, I don't know if I totally agree with that. That's just a webinar that I saw the other day from Altos Research. But I do agree we need to incentivize sellers. One of the reasons we're in this situation we're in is for over 10 years we have not been building enough new homes. So in Rhode Island, if you're building 1,000 to 1,500 too few homes every year to just keep pace with demand, after 10 years, you're 15,000 homes short. Nationwide, we're 6 million homes short. So that's what we have to do. And we're in Woonsocket right now at the radio station, and so you look at urban areas. If it's Woonsocket, Pawtucket, Central Falls, Providence, if they said, hey, you know what? This house, we're going to condemn this house because it's fallen apart. No one's living there. It's a hazard. So now we're going to have a buildable lot that's vacant. What if we allow someone who buys this lot and say, listen, you can buy it, but you've got to go up 4 stories, not 3 stories. So now, and then you can have 2 apartments per floor. So now you have 8 units, not 3 units. So now they don't have to charge as much for rent. That will help on that side. Go ahead.
We always talk about, what ifs, if we come up with some ideas. Do you know if there's any type of legislation that's out there that has been proposed? Because I see it as I see the housing market, just the rate of inflation. I do see a crisis on its way. I think we're living in it. You know what I mean? Because you can't find, just in the state of Massachusetts, okay, $500,000 is basically the going rate of an affordable home. Anything east of Massachusetts, just to get to the homes that are like 350, okay, between 250 and 3, you got to go Springfield.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of people, even though I'm a junk guy, even you have people that are trickling into Rhode Island now, and Rhode Island's prices are going up.
Yeah, exactly. The median price of Rhode Island is Rhode Island is over $400,000. So, Rhode Island is quickly shedding its reputation as being an affordable place to buy a home. Maybe if you're coming here from Boston or New York City, or Western Connecticut, but we're not that affordable anymore. And then when you get into the bougie areas like Charlestown and Narragansett, it's even higher.
Yeah. Now, I know you travel a lot. I know you go to a lot of conventions, and I know you talk to a lot of people throughout the country in real estate. So I've got a question for you. How do you think markets looking on the East Coast compared to the West Coast? Do you think we're going to get those West Coast numbers over the years? I believe we will.
Well, but yeah, I think, as far as West Coast numbers, just want to clarify, because I read a statistic today about California. 700,000 people have left the state of California since 2020. So their home prices, they're still strong, and there's still more demand than there is inventory. So houses are still more expensive in those areas. However, I think that's one of the reasons. I think a lot of those people in states like that, they are going to other states, and where you're seeing a lot of them move to are like Texas, Tennessee, Florida. But Rhode Island has had people come from more expensive areas and get to Rhode Island because they want to stay on the East Coast and they don't want to go down south. So if you want, if you don't want to be in a real rural area like Vermont or parts of Maine, Rhode Island is convenient for a lot of folks. So, I think that, we're going to for better or worse, we are going to see some of those West Coast numbers coming here. We're not going to get to a lot of the high numbers in California and Arizona, but certainly, a lot of the other areas, yeah, we are.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is. I know, and it's it's scary too because, and I was starting to go to this when I was talking about the rentals. If we could build new rental tenements that have more units and go up an extra floor, that would be great. And then also in other areas, allow smaller minimum lot sizes, and also we can be creative with how we try and design these homes and permit these homes, so that the houses aren't completely on top of each other. That's like another master class on how to talk about that. But there are definitely ways that things can be done in suburban communities to make it more affordable for people, for working class people. I'm not talking about low income homes, and I don't like to say low income homes because you can be a working class person that works 60 hours a week, and you're scraping by, and you're not poor, but it's still, you're scraping by. You can't afford the kind of house you want to afford, so you have to take a couple of steps back and get a house a little smaller or a little in a more rural area, or for whatever reason less expensive. So I think that there are things that we need to do, and we need people with legislators, town council members, city council members, and then mayors and governors to basically say, all right, let's roll up our sleeves and figure out how we're going to deal with this situation. What can we do so that builders can build more homes? I know in Cumberland we try to be. I'm chairman of the Conservation Commission in Cumberland, and we get to review all of the plans for new developments, and we do not try to make it unnecessarily onerous on builders. We try to encourage people to build homes so that we can continue to have the quality of life that we have, and then also allow people to get into affordable homes. But unfortunately, everything is so expensive right now, it's virtually impossible to build a $400,000 new home. You see homes that are new and they're not even in a fancy part of town, and they're on a kind of a small lot, and they're only 2,000 square feet, and they're $600,000. It's just it's a lot.
So Joe, I got another question for you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's more geared towards your industry, and I kind of find it a little fascinating. And one of the things that I find fascinating about it is I know it's been talked about, I wonder if they're doing it to squeeze a lot of agents out of the business, right? So instead of having a massive layoff, because the way we see the economy with layoffs is a lot of large companies are laying off to restructure for their profits. There's something I heard through the grapevine that for seller agents, that if it was to go through, right? Not for the buyers, they wouldn't get a piece to the cut from the commission from the seller. So they would actually have to go ahead and create their own contract with their potential client.
Yeah. Okay, that's an excellent question. It's very inside baseball, and it's very true. And they're actually, so you touched upon two things. The first thing is squeezing agents out. That's going to happen because, as in Rhode Island, we have 700 listings, and we have 7,000 agents chasing those 700 listings. Okay, and when we had 4,500 to 5,000 listings, we probably had 5,500 agents chasing those listings. Okay, so it was a very different dynamic. So nationwide, what's going to happen is people have to pay for their continuing education classes and renew their licenses and their insurance. A lot of agents are going to just fall by the wayside. So we have 1.6 million agents, realtors nationwide, and that number is probably going to drop down by hundreds of thousands over the next year or two. getting back to your second point, okay, yes, there is currently a class action lawsuit that was brought by some sellers in Illinois and I believe Missouri, and essentially, they sold their home and they're like, well, why did I have to pay the buyer's agent? The buyer's agent's looking out for the buyer. I only want to pay the listing agent. I don't want. So they're saying that sellers should not have to pay a buyer's agent. Now, on the surface, that seems to make a heck of a lot of sense when you're in an economy and you're at a point in the business cycle that we're at right now where there are more buyers than you can shake a stick at for all the few listings that we have. However, this situation is not going to last forever. At some point, we're going to go back to where we were 15 years ago or something closer to that, where you have to hustle to get a buyer to buy your home because there are other houses out there that you're competing with, other listings that you are competing with. So now, how are you going to incentivize buyer's agents to come to your home? Well, if you're not paying anything, you're not going to incentivize them. So that means buyers are going to come. They're going to have to deal with a listing agent. The listing agent has a fiduciary obligation to look out for the best interests of the seller, not the buyer. So then what could happen is buyers could be taken advantage of, and then fast forward after a few years of buyers getting, excuse my language, buyers getting screwed, then there's going to be legislation that's going to make it go back, or something is going to make it go back. Wait, we need to protect all of these buyers. So, that's where we may be. If this weren't to go into effect today about not paying buyer's agents, 20 years from now, we would be dealing with another set of issues. But I think that, if in the short term, if I'm a seller and my contract says I only have to pay Fred, my listing agent, a commission, but I'm not getting any action, I may say, you know what, Fred, listen, I'm going to pay 2% to a buyer's agent. Put that in the listing so that way we can get buyer's agents to bring their buyers to my house. Because the market will change. When things get more competitive, that's the nature of capitalism, okay? So, your questions are spot on, and your observations are accurate. There are some agents, and in other parts of the country and also in other segments of the market. If you're talking about selling a $5, $10, $15 million property, especially a commercial property, many times the listing says buyer agent responsible for buyer commission. Okay, and that's just it. So if I want to sell my hotel, but I only want to pay you a commission. So you list it and you say buyer's agent. So then Steve wants to bring his buyer in. Steve has to say to his buyer, hey, Mr. Buyer, they're not paying, so I need you to give me something to help put this deal together for you. And they need to negotiate a 1, 2, or 3% commission from their buyer in addition, above and beyond the purchase price. So there is certainly precedent for that happening on the commercial side. And in existence now, there are some agents and some brokers that they only pay the bare minimum, which is technically $1 to a buyer's agent. So that means what I have to do if I want to show my buyer that listing agent's house, I have to have a conversation with my buyer about that. And then also say that, listen, my buyer is going to buy this house from Mr. Seller, but they will only do that if the seller agrees to pay me, their agent, 2%, 3%, whatever the number is, depending on the price point, etc. So that's, but, your buyer has to be on board for that. Because if the buyer's not on board for that, then you're SOL, so you really need to, that's why, again, real estate is a relationship business, and there are many agents, they just get leads online and they never really talk to and develop a relationship with these prospective clients. So there's no loyalty, there's no honor from the buyer to the agent because they don't know who the heck you are. So you can certainly convert an internet lead to someone that you could develop a solid relationship with, but you need to add value to your services. And that's, of course, with all the good agents, like, the ones you hang out with and myself and others, we do that every day. Go ahead.
How's commercial real estate looking in Rhode Island? Because I'm telling you, in Massachusetts, Amazon just moved. They're going ahead and consolidating. We're just losing Christmas Tree Shop. So we're starting to see, the big box retailers taking hits. So with a lot of the corporate restructurings too, a lot of like Fridays and stuff,
Yeah, we haven't started to see that yet in Rhode Island, and but where we are going to start to see that is because the big shoe that's going to be dropping with commercial real estate is, you know, unlike a mortgage, you get a mortgage, you sign on the dotted line today, that's your interest rate for 30 years. So your payment will stay the same for 30 years or 15 years if you get a 15-year mortgage. On a commercial loan, there are review periods, and depending on the lender and the type of loan and size of the loan and strength of the borrower, it could be 12-month, 24-month, or 36-month review. So interest rates are now, 6.88 for a 30-year fixed rate residential mortgage. Commercial rates are higher for the most part. So if you had you got a loan to buy your office building, your apartment building, your whatever it is, commercial loan, and your rate was 5% when everyone else was getting 2.5%, 3% on residential loans. Now that's coming up for review. You could be making your payments on time. You could be very strong financially, but now they review and they say, okay, you know what, Mr. Cullen, you did a great job. We've got to do a review, but now your interest rate is going to be 8.5%, not 5%. And now you're like, oh my gosh. So that's happening nationwide with commercial loans. And that's happening with smaller commercial loans, $1 million commercial loans, and then really big commercial loans. So the people who are over leveraged, they're going to take it in the shorts to, again, excuse my English, but they're going to have some problems. And if you just take a look at San Francisco about a month ago, the owner of the largest mall in San Francisco walked away from it, and they told the bank, here, take it back. Now, there are a lot of other issues that they factored in why it was becoming too expensive for them to operate it. But this is a property that was valued at over $1 billion a few years ago, and the mortgage, the loan amount is $725 or $750 million. And they just said, take it over, and we don't want it. And they walked away from it because they know the payments are going to go up, and they've got to deal with all of the crime and vacancy that they have to deal with, and then all of the other expenses in San Francisco. They don't want it. So that may be happening in addition to what you refer to regarding corporate restructurings and store closings. I mean, yeah, Christmas tree shops, they're closing up, so they're going away. I mean, you've got Bed Bath & Beyond. You've got a lot of these big stores that are closing up. Now, if you own a mall or a big power center and you have 3, 4, 5 of these stores that were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, how are you going to continue to operate and meet all of your debt service obligations? And a lot of times the commercial loans have there are triggers in there that there are certain levels. You have to have occupancy rates and you have to have debt service coverage ratios and things like that. And when you dip below that, you are technically in default of the loan. So then the bank can call the loan. And it can be a cascading problem. So it's all kind of intertwined, and it drives back to mortgage interest rates. I think I'll go on record now today, July 18th, around 10:07, that there are going to be lots of opportunities where vacant office buildings are going to be converted to residential properties, because you could make them into apartments, you could convert them into condominiums, and they're sitting there and they're vacant, and we don't have enough housing as it is. So, I know the mayor of Boston was trying to get something passed to incentivize office building property owners to do that, and
that I can't say what town it is, but I can say I know for a fact that they're even looking at old high schools, and
oh yeah,
and looking to convert old high schools into affordable homes for people. And actually in the town of Milford, in Mass, you'll actually see they actually converted an old school into luxury apartments. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's something they're actually doing that nationwide. They've something in Woonsocket that we're doing here in the city of Woonsocket with the old middle school. But it's something that's been happening nationwide because this housing shortage that we have, it is a nationwide situation. And I talked to friends of mine, in Lincoln, Nebraska, friends of mine in Florida, friends of mine in Texas, in parts of Alaska. You know, everybody has an inventory problem.
Yes, they do. Well, it was great talking to you, Joe, and thank you for answering my questions. And I'll let you get back to your show. And you have a great night. All right, bud.
Okay, brother, take care. You too. Thank you very much. Call in anytime. We got to get together for lunch at some point too. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, thank you very much to Fred Cullen from a friend of mine and a vendor. If you need any, I should have had him give his contact information. Yeah, he can. We'll get him on the show sometime, and we can talk about it. And he does green machine rubbish removal. They do a really good job. And as he said, he does help folks on the residential side, and he typically would get a lot of referrals from realtors. But that business has gone down because, again, we don't have many realtors who have the need to have homes cleaned out. Okay, because there aren't that many homes on the market. All right. Thank you very much to Fred Cullen for calling into the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. It's about probably 7 minutes before the hour. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank our sponsors. Again, we talked about John Dolbeck and the Dolbeck team at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. We also have the best, my buddy Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster. He is the best at what he does, helps homeowners, property owners receive what they're entitled to when you have an insurance claim. When you have an event and you need to file a claim with your insurance policy, you want to make sure that you get everything that you are entitled to because you have been paying your premium every year. And Vern Rainville can do that for you at 484-300. Actually, hold on a minute. I'm drawing a blank right here on my number. I want to give the right number for Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster. I apologize, folks. I just had as we say, a mind fart. For Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster, 484-300-8495. 484-300-8495. Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster. Vern is the best. If you have property, you think you have a claim on your policy, please give him a call, 484-300-8495. And of course, the best move you will ever make when it comes to moving anything is G Metz Moving and Storage. 401-383-6399. 401-383-6399. That's George Metz, my buddy. We've been friends. We first met during BNI, and George and I worked together. I basically told the authorities what a great guy he is, and he got all the licenses he needs because that's the way G Metz Moving and Storage does business. They're licensed, they're insured, their trucks are licensed as they should be. They don't hire people off of Craigslist to move your belongings. G Metz Moving and Storage, they don't require huge, big 50% deposits. They can help you, whether it's moving your belongings from one side of the house to the other side, temporarily taking them out of the house so you can have work done in the house, or moving from Woonsocket to Westerly or Rhode Island to Florida. G Metz Moving and Storage, 401-383-6399. Please mention the Joe Luca Real Estate Show when you call. Of course, Beacon Title and Escrow, we send all of our clients to them, whether they're buying or selling. And, they do a great job because they have several attorneys that work there. Anthony Betancourt is the managing partner. Rich Nicholson is the attorney partner. And they can look out for your best interest and make sure that there are no surprises when everybody sits down at the closing table. If you listen to the show, you've heard me say many times before that surprises are not good in real estate. Whenever there's a surprise during a real estate transaction, it's usually like, oh no. And you don't want to have a surprise. And working with Beacon Title and Escrow, they eliminate the chance of any surprises popping up at the last minute, okay? Because they're experienced, they've done thousands of transactions, and they've been in the industry for, Anthony's been in it for over 20 years. Rich has been in it for over 20 years. All the other guys have been in it for a real long time, and they have a great support staff. That's Beacon, Title, and Escrow. They do a fantastic job. We want to thank them for being a sponsor, along with GMET's Moving and Storage, Vern Rainville, Public Insurance Adjuster, and of course John Dolbeck and Heath Lafort and Denora Reyes at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. If you have questions, you can reach me after the show, 401-409-5030. You can also text me at that number. Or you can give us a call here at the show. We've got a minute or two left, 401-769-0600. If you want to just get in one last quick call. We're very fortunate that we have a great caller from my buddy Fred Cullen. He calls in periodically and has always some great information and asks awesome questions. That's Fred Cullen, Green Team Rubbish Removal, 508-361-0519. Fred Cullen, Green Team Rubbish Removal, 508-361-0519. They do a really good job, and I would highly recommend them if you need to get stuff out. And they're Green Team because they dispose of items in an environmentally friendly manner. They're very conscientious with how they dispose of items. And that's something actually that I want to say, because sometimes folks, when you hire these guys out of Craigslist, yeah, they come and they pick up your stuff, and then sometimes they just dump it on the side of the road. So they say they're junk removal or rubbish removal. Well, a lot of times they're really cheap because they don't dispose of it properly. And there's nothing more annoying than when you're driving down the road and you see like a chair from a living room chair and a sofa and a box spring on the side of the road. Well, some of these people do that so they don't have to pay to dispose of these items because it's costly. And when you hire someone like Fred Cullen and the Green Team Rubbish Removal guys, you never have to worry about that. 508-361-0519. Green Team Rubbish Removal. We really appreciate Fred calling in. I also want to thank everyone for tuning in. We will be back next Tuesday right here on WNRI 99.9 FM, 1380 AM, WNRI.com, as well as Facebook Live. And you can also check us out after the fact on Spotify. Just look for the Joe Luca Real Estate Show or Cup of Joe Luca. Next up, we have Rick Mernier and the Old Time Preaching Ministry, talking about some good old-fashioned Bible scripture with lessons for life. In these times that we're in right now, there's a lot of craziness going on. If it's the real estate market, the Fed interest rates, mortgage interest rates, you see stores closing up, people getting laid off, you don't know what's going on. The one thing you can always rely on is Scripture and the good news of our Lord Jesus Christ. And Rick Mernier, of course, is going to share lots of valuable insights for you. And on that note, I want to just, as I'm winding things up, last week I went to go see that movie, Sound of Freedom, with Jim Caviezel. Highly recommend it. It's at Lincoln Wall. Check it out. It's well worth it. It's a very, very powerful movie, and it's worth you taking a look at it and spending the money to support something that's not the normal Hollywood fare. And check it out. Okay, I am signing off, and we'll be back next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Hey, guys, thank you very much. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.